But they're all set now for the juvenile fillies turf. 14 of them across the track. Is sent on their way. And the dance on the outside, broke a little side with Pro KK. But meanwhile, it's going to be stopped. But running on now, and Somali Lemonade's got 8 to make up. They come to the top of the lane. Stop. Shopping Maria's got a lot left. Stop. Shopping Maria goes on. Sweet Cat is right there. Half up to right. Royal Body is running on. Past the 8 ball way comes. Stop. Shopping Maria for the run. Still under a hand ride as they come to the 16. Stephanie's Kitten coming out late. Yes, Stephanie's Kitten coming fast. Stephanie's Kitten. Stop. Shopping Maria. Stephanie's Kitten's water. Watched the chances, broke smartly, but so did Terror from the Cape. On the inside, Sky Lantern, the Grey going well. If he can get through, Sky Lantern, the Grey looking for somewhere to run. Wide open. It's Terror from the Cape hanging on. Terror from the Cape tries to go all the way. On the outside now, here comes Flotilla in the light blue. Flotilla is absolutely flying. Watch the chances in there too. But Flotilla has gone right on by. And Flotilla is coming home to score. Flotilla has won it just about 2 in the end. It'll be Watch the Chances, Summer of Fun coming on to finish third.
Live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report, coming to you live from the backstretch of Saratoga Race Course, and hopefully today we'll have no live action early in the morning, as I'm joined by my friend and partner, Seth Merrow. Seth, good morning, and another beautiful day at the racetrack.
Absolutely.
Yesterday
was gorgeous. We have now hit August, and it is amazing what a magical spot on the calendar that is. The last couple of days, 26,000 plus here, and you can see it last weekend too, as we did turn the page away from July and into August. And July numbers were fine, but it's just year in and year out, people still think of it as the August place to be, and things jump up a little bit when we do get into August. But the weather has been gorgeous, and the crowds have been fine, and the racing continues to be very good. So, yeah, all is well in Saratoga.
Now, one of the things I think there have been marketing studies that people that live in the Capital District, as Seth and I do, is, and this was not the case in my family, so it's one of those things you learn, that people that they take their vacation in August far more than July, and I'm the antithesis because I'm a big fan of the daylight hours.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't work for me. It would have worked to come into the track, but I didn't quite have that bug until I could drive. But more people take their time off in August than July, so they're freed up. But it is the August place to be, and you're right. It is. It is as reliable as the sun coming up in the east, and the weather. Hopefully we want to roll. And also, the turf course to me dried out and got to a place pretty darn good quickly compared to all of the rain we have had for a month. I think the turf is in outstanding condition. I was looking, as I'm sure you had to already, it's hard to imagine that tomorrow's card is not the topper of the meet.
Oh, I mean, stakes action, and you talk about grass over the weekend, the Belmont Derby, the Saratoga Derby, the Saratoga Oaks. We have some European runners coming in, and then the Whitney with some of the top older horses in the division, and Swiss Skydiver. And tomorrow on Racing Across America, we are expecting Ken McPeak, Swiss Skydiver. He has some other nice runners as well, and Brett Calhoun with By My Standards. I was trying also to get Mark Cassidy because he's got some nice runners in, and I wanted to talk to him a little bit the day after the Hall of Fame, but he was tied up tomorrow. He said, get me some other time, be happy to do it. So we'll get Mark Cassidy in. But speaking of that, Hall of Fame inductions this morning
today
are right around the corner, and a spectacular class going in two classes. Last year's was postponed. Two classes going in: Todd Pletcher, American Pharaoh, Mark Cassidy. So if you want to come up, I think
who's
it
the
kicks off
other,
at 10:30.
other horse? I don't really.
Oh, it's a Wise Dan, right? Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Two no-brainers.
Yeah. And first come, first serve. If you saw the museum piece yesterday, we talked to Kate Masterson from the Museum and Hall of Fame. Talked a little bit about the, downstairs facing Tipton is the entrance and families and whatnot, but upstairs is open, but it's first come, first serve. And I would expect it to be filled fast with the two classes they're putting in. But if you're not coming up or you can't get in, you can stream it at the Racing Museum's website. So just Google in National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame, pull up their website. They're going to
Great world we live in.
Yeah.
It's boy, I'll tell you. And Brian, our director, told me. I said, they put this show up on YouTube, and we had the incident the other day when Seth and I was working with the loose horse, and I was looking, and I go, boy, at least I gave the audience the correct look, scared look. I was able to transfer to our audience what I was feeling and the situation that was abound.
Which turned out great, but had the potential to go completely 180.
And what's odd was after the show, and Seth, I said I went over there where he hit this set, and there wasn't much room to even let light in, and he could have got tangled in the tarp and stanchions, etc. Tomorrow's going to be a busy show. So I just want to say something to our audience. It's going to be really busy. I think it's 12 on the card.
Yeah.
It's great. We're going to be motoring through it. Just as an example, race replays and the value of them. I want you tomorrow they're going to run the Glens Falls set at 12 furlongs, I believe, for the first time. I think they're moving it to its new distance this year. There are multiple horses coming out of a stakes race down at Delaware. And what I'm asking is, well, first off, you'll need it to handicap. But I think I'm right about this, and I could cheat. But my point is, they listed it as soft, the turf course. Watch the race and tell me if your watching races for a long time doesn't tell you firm. So now I'll give them a little give and say good. But boy, I'll tell you, there's not much sod coming up for a soft turf course. Take a look at it. I think there's like 3 runners.
Well, I remember the race because I liked the leak of that day. So
you're happy.
I got my you got your price and got the.
What was 8-1?
No, I think it was closer to maybe 9-2.
9-2. Okay, sitting off the pace on the front end and
had the nice winter
took over
season and.
But if you look at it, I was SF, right? You got into it yet? The Glens Falls. I know there's lots of stakes.
SF. Yep.
I'm telling you, folks, this is where I say, you had that Kentucky Derby a couple years ago with Always Dreaming. They said wet fast. I said sloppy. What is it? The Robert G. Dick Memorial, right?
Yeah.
Distance of ground, turf race at
and it's
Delaware
funny,
Park.
I said when we...
Take a look at it, and I'm telling you, I know it's a subjective area, Seth, but it's a bright, sunny day at Delaware Park, and that turf, to me, looked A-OK.
And I said it when I was on the air that afternoon. I said, we're going to watch some of the stakes from Delaware, and typically the stakes on this day and these particular stakes play into Saratoga.
Yeah.
So watch these with a little interest because some of these horses will come back, and sure enough, top 3 finishers from the R.G. Dick Memorial are in the race tomorrow. So it was worth paying attention
I like
to.
one of them, not the one that you scored on, but I like one of them. It's a great card, and it's something about yesterday, and obviously, stats and numbers. I'm a big fan of. I don't know if I beat the drum too much about the teletimer. I find it hard to believe that I could possibly do that, but because that's part of numbers, and it's important. But something yesterday to show you how I always say, Seth, with stats, you know, the old Mark Twain or whomever said about. I said my thing about stats is by the time you ask 3 questions, the stats really good if it can be answered properly. So here I'll go. Mr. Kringle yesterday won the 7th race mile on the turf. Paid $9.80. That's not the point I'm getting to. I'm a pace guy, even on turf. It's less important in turf racing because of the nature of it than dirt racing, but I still think it's important. So mile races at Saratoga, the pace call in mile races on either surface is the 6 furlong pole. And in the history of Saratoga that I have, which goes back to, I think I have it 89 now. I'm sorry, 91 was easy with Equibase, but I've been able to put together more years. 10 furlongs off the pace call, which Mr. Kringle was, has only been superseded like 2 times, and that was 1 horse won going a mile, 12 lengths off at the pace call. That's the record that I have. Now, Mr. Kringle, though, so he won the bronze medal yesterday. For the last 30-plus years we've been running here. But here's the question. Spectatorless ran off. So the reason Mr. Kringle was 10 off the lead at the pace call was sort of an aberration. And then the jockey got lost, and etc. But there you have it. So I could come on the show and say, boy, you know, the 3rd biggest deficit ever made up going a mile on the turf course at the pace call. Well, you have to add the rest of it, and that is because you had a runoff pace setter. And if you considered him not in the race, Mr. Kringle was right there, like 2 off, and scored the victory, etc. A nice pick 5 going out there. But, you know, just because I love stats, but I think sometimes, like the first thing I always say is, like if they say in golf, you know, the lowest rounds in the majors since 2015, no matter who the leader is, that means they kicked in 2015. Because that's why. But if I go back to 2012, that person's going to fall through the floor.
That's interesting though, because if it's the horse that's running second behind the runoff, and you look up the PPs in their next race, you're going to be able to figure out, oh, there was a runoff horse.
Yes.
If it's the horse that's 5th though or 4th,
no, you don't know.
Yeah,
you don't know.
See 15 lengths behind, and you're thinking,
is it
wow,
me? Is it you? Yeah.
And so you are reading the race very differently.
Yes. And that's where race replays and things like that, and
yeah.
just addendums where, you know, it happens from time to time. But just that's it. I thought it was an interesting day on the card yesterday. Brian and I handicap. I thought it was pretty well. I had some shots. I came close. I know I was in the picture, as they say, but couldn't quite get there with
I've been there a number
couple
of times
horses that
nice,
well,
right there. I always say though, if you're right there, I would rather be right there because then I know I'm handicapping decently.
Yes.
It'll turn around as opposed to being up the track.
You know,
and
people say that they have a good point. Like it must be excruciating. You're like, it is, but you know, when you get past the part of, oh my goodness, you're like, well, at least you know, I told people one time, I don't bet the double very often, but this is going back many years ago, almost 30 years ago. I was doing a radio spot, and they wanted me to pick the double for them, which I was happy to do for the publicity for me at that time. And I was like, my double ran last and last. No. And when I called him last day, I said, you know what? I bet that's harder to do than to hit the double, is to pick 2 horses that you ran last and last. I knew it was then time for a breather for me.
Remember the days, I mean, you probably got into the game long enough ago when you'd say, I'm going to the track, and people would say, hey, play me the 3-6 double. But now with the rolling double,
and people don't understand.
That was a thing. You're going to the track, 3-6 double.
And when I was a kid, so the adults had grown up in a world where that was the only exotic wagering, and that made it like, you know, the pick 5 is today, you know, but you're right. Nowadays, we got plenty of doubles, get up there. That's why I like to say the final pick 3 or something, because we have plenty of everything. But
let me hit on promos before
please.
We get going. Because today we do have the bounty bet returns, $904. Excuse me, I'm looking over my computer. I didn't bring in the hard copy. $904 in the bounty. All you have to do is play the late pick 5 up here at Saratoga with your Capital OTB bet account, and you're live for all a part of the bounty. If you're at the Clubhouse Racebook today, you can take advantage of the trifecta challenge, so go down and maybe you win a little extra dough at the clubhouse today. Syndicate special is back on Saturday tomorrow, but again, that's first come, first serve. So if you're not in this week's syndicate, new syndicates open up every week on Sundays at capitalotb.com, so check that out. Tomorrow there'll be a pick 3 bankroll. I'll have that up for a team. You can check the website to get your chance to be on tomorrow's pick 3 team. Clubhouse Racebook tomorrow. It is the Play the Board contest, so swing by tomorrow for that. Sunday, there's a show pool bankroll. Check out the website to maybe get on that team. And Sunday, again, at the Racebook, pick 4 in a match bet promotion. So a lot going on over the next few days here at Capital OTB. And I will also tell folks who are out there watching and going to be playing this afternoon, do note, if you like to play this kind of thing, and I know most everybody likes to at least take a look. Monmouth today, there's a pick 5 carryover, just over $200,000. So you may want to take a look at a little Monmouth.
What's funny is Brian Nato, our colleague, is starting to rope me in the pick 5, but I still completely disagree with his idea. And yesterday was a classic example of, the short price horse in the first leg. And I know you're supposed to play defensively and take these horses, but I'm like, I don't. And I thought the pick 5 after that was pretty inexpensive to get through it. But I'm starting to get interested in the pick 5 greatly, and the carryover of the pick 5 is fantastic.
Yeah,
you think it's happened even a handful of times in New York? I can think of 2 or 3.
Oh, the pick 5 carryover, yeah, it's happened, but it's not.
It is.
It's kind of unusual in most places, but it does happen occasionally.
And they bet it here.
Yeah, and then when it happens.
And now they bet it. Are you ready?
I am.
All right then, ladies and gentlemen. The day before a fantastic Whitney card tomorrow.
Nice stakes card today, though, too.
It is.
Yeah.
It's good, and the weather seems to be playing nicely. The turf course is firm. 2-year-olds maiden special weights on the Mellon, racing 5.5.
I'm going to go the 1 entry, 6, 9, and 5. No Me Culpa and Not Yet Charlie, I think, are both interesting in here. The plain one has a sibling called Chloe Rose, 3rd in debut, and then won the 2nd start. Another sibling called Tenderetto, 8th, 9th, but then won the next 2. So I think there's some win early there. The other half of the entry, Not Yet Charlie. FedBiz on top, a little light as far as win early so far this year. FedBiz is at 34 first-time starters, only 1 winner, but 6 in the money finishes. Dam, however, produced a sibling called Sincamore, 8th in debut, and then won the 2nd start. We'll see if this one can live up to that older sibling. So I thought these 2 were a little bit interesting in here. I'm not super attracted to them, but I just didn't find anything that really pulled me in. Sailor Speed, I have underneath. Sibling Miss Is Zippy, that took, 6 starts to win, but in that 6 starts also had 3 seconds and a third, so a little win early there, a little talent early. Same with a sibling called Runfest, who a couple of seconds to start the career, took 5 starts to win. But again, there was enough there to think this one, with the experience under the belt, might move forward a little bit. And then in the 3rd slot, I went out to Smoky White. First-time starter for Safi Joseph, and it is the kind of race where I think you can look for a fresh face, so that's the one that attracted me. Safi, okay, with first-time starters, comes up from Monmouth off of Bullet Work. I have it to 1 entry, 6, 9, and 5.
And just as a point, yesterday we were talking about, once again, stats and the numbers. Safi Joseph, it's right there in the racing form. But the question I said to Brian yesterday when we talked about it is, when you're watching the races, they don't seem to be running well. I mean, like that actually the 10% is kind of good compared to what you think maybe your trained eyes are seeing. And the converse is true also, where we're so consumed by the win percentage, which is very important in this game. But my thing has always been, Seth, as a function of pricing, that's kind of like the fulcrum for me. It's like, are they running better than odds, or are they running worse than odds? And that's a part, and I think Safi Joseph, who's, I would say, was almost struggling at this meet, because 10% day in and day out seems like a pretty good ratio. But look at their horses, how they're running, and make your own opinion. I like a horse in this race, but not for, I don't have anything, but it's 3-1-5, as you can see. And Emma's Waltz, owned and trained by James Chapman. You know who he trained? Of note up here, and at first, and went to a different barn, and
no
City Zip.
Okay, all right.
I think City Zip had run
I would have said that was Linda.
5.
I would have said that was Linda Rice.
Well, she got him.
Oh, okay.
She got him.
Because wasn't he in the crazy storm race up here? That ended maybe a
the
dead
heat with Yanaguska to sweep
Yeah, right.
for him.
Yeah. And I think at that point he was Linda Rice.
He was. Now here's the other thing. He had run 5 times before. Here's 2 things about City Zip. He had run 5 times before the Sanford. And here's a stat for you. On dirt, I think that Sanford, a horse named Dance Missile for Dale Romans, ran the fastest opening quarter mile ever here. 21.03. City Zips. But you're right.
5 starts before the Sanford.
Imagine that. So Emma's Waltz to me for James Chapman. It's just a flyer in here. I don't know. You have Street Hustle's MTO. Good Skate is MTO. Have a couple horses with a start under their belt, all of which I think if Emma's Waltz could match, I don't think it's a big hurdle to match it. Whether it'll be good enough, I don't know. I have the part of the entry, the one who's inside, Rudy Rodriguez. And I'll tell you one thing, they were so right. I didn't think that one race in the slop made Danny Deep Cuts that much of a stick out yesterday, but they were right and I was wrong. That's a news flash. And for third, number 5, Materialize, and Offspring of McLean's Music was enough for me. But 3-1-5 in today's opener.
Second race at Saratoga on this Friday afternoon. A plain vanilla 12-5 claimer, 9 furlongs is the track.
And I will say this as an example. In the early pick 5 yesterday, which was obviously the light one, came back 405. I think most reasonable people say we only had to come up with one horse, Painster, and that was a horse that I had in my mix for the trifecta, so you would have thought you'd go along. But
nice up the rail trip for
yes,
that one.
that helped there. 3-8-7, ladies. Sounds like it was kind of like that opening day race. The finale was at Dancing with the Stars. I think you needed. Came up the rail, got the trip, and got the W. 3-8-7 for me as they go once around here. And Oscar Barrera III claimed this horse for 12-5, 2 races back. Raced well, going the 1-turn mile 16 that Belmont draws inside here. Should be in the middle of the pack early. We'll see if they can pick up the pieces. 6-1 in the morning line. Luis have 3 again yesterday.
Oh man, I think Kieran are on a tear.
He that might be 4 3-baggers.
Yeah, he's having an incredible meet, and Kieran and our friend Matt Hunter.
You have to tell our wide range of audience why you said 2 names when I said 1 jockey.
Well, I'll tie it in because our friend Matt Hunter from Spectrum News does great pieces. If you watch Spectrum News, Matt is up there, and he's a horse racing fan, and for years he's been doing nice features, and he did a feature on Kieran there the other day, and you can probably find that on the Spectrum News website.
He's the agent.
But Kieran, yeah, I mentioned him because Kieran McLaughlin for years was one of the top trainers in the game, and a couple of years ago,
human beings.
Nicest guy, great guy. But he transitioned over to being a jocks agent, and he picks up Luis Saez, and they've just been on a tear right along. But they are really teaming up.
And for those who just follow, I mean, it's sort of like golf with the caddy. The caddy will say, "We shot 64 today," because that's the partnership. So, and sometimes in horse racing, the agent might be the more important thing for certain relationships, etc. But they're a team, and Kieran McLaughlin, Luis Saez having a great meet here. Malibu Pro, my second pick for Linda Rice. First off the claim, we're on the outside for a popular horse at the claim box. I have to think Eric Consell is going to use a little early energy here to not get hung out 4 wide on the first turn. I think that might be problematic in the last 16th of a mile, but we'll see. And then Roaming Union, owned and trained by Charlie Baker, but 3-8-7 in the second.
8-7, 4-2 for me, and I you mentioned Malibu Pro just underneath for you, and I debate. This is when I kind of would like to put underneath. When I handicap the way I think they're coming under the wire. It's not necessarily the way I'm going to play the race, but I because there's so many variations on how you can play races now. I'll let you make that decision, but I would tread lightly. Certainly, this would not be a single for me. Because you always have to question, claim for 25 and they come back for half the price. Now, there's a big purse here, and maybe economically it will make sense, but there are question marks. However, on a best effort, even on a better effort, this horse becomes the one to beat. Roaming Union, Like Malibu Pro, the last race wasn't much, drops off of that. This one, the drop isn't quite as concerning, but now has strung a few together that aren't great. But again, on a better effort, this one just seems to, it's not a spectacular field. And then Tapalist in the third spot. This one at least has some decent recent form as compared to my top two picks. Class-wise, I'm not totally convinced how he's going to stack up, but it is Robertina Diodoro, second off the claim. They won first off the claim, so they've got some money in the bank already, so they can take this little half step down the claiming ladder, drop, and still be in good shape given the situation winning the last race. So Tapalist may, if you get the 8-1 there, he becomes very interesting in the race. In the second, I have it 8, 7, 4, and 2.
On to the third, 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares. Entry level allowance, 11 furlongs on the inner turf course. The entry is both MTOs, if my math is right.
Yeah.
The 1 and the 1A, the entry, are both MTOs in the third.
I have it 5, 4, 7, and 3. Costana on top. Cherie DeVoe, who actually won a little stake the other day and wasn't here. She has a string, I think, down at Ellis. And I believe she was down there taking care of her horses. But former assistant to Chad Brown went off on her own a couple of years ago. She's having a decent 2021, and as I say, won a nice little race here a couple of days ago. And this one comes in nice improving form via the Beyer numbers. Broke the maiden two back, moved into allowance company, and ran decently last time. And as I say, seems primed on the numbers going forward to play again this afternoon. Single soul in the second slot. Another one that's on a series of improving numbers from Graham Motion. Jose Ortiz on board. Steps into allowance non-winners of 1. And again, sometimes when you move to the next condition, it'll take a start or two to figure it out. But I think given what we've seen from this one so far, I think a good fit with this bunch. And then Creative Cairo in the third spot. Broke the maiden. They got ambitious and tried Stakes Company right after that. And, they wound up 8th, but they took their shot. Moved back to the more proper non-winners of 1 level last time. Ran a decent third, and I think will fit, again, with this particular bunch well this afternoon. 5, 4, 7, and 3.
Boy, how lucky for the ex-governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky that he exits 2 consecutive hand-timed races. That's got to be worth a price. I'm running the same ballpark here, and I've said this before, and I said it at the right moment when Sifting Sand scored at almost $60. Dubai, I know, is not talked about very much in the United States, but as a stallion, right below Galileo, and now it's not not looking at 25-1 here today, but Single Soul to me is the top pick in here, coming off of the maiden win. I have, we're all the same ballpark, 4, 7, 5. But to me, I just love Dubai as a stallion, distance of ground, turf, you can probably figure. And what's funny is, Seth, is he almost, I think, single-handedly is going to keep Dubai Millennium barely in the news, which he should be in the news more, considering how, I know you have Jerry Bailey on usually once a year, and you have certainly more timely stuff to talk with him about. But I think he rode Dubai Millennium in his 1 or 2 times, but he got to ride him, and that was a horse that, and then eating grass and died like in his first. It's just terrible. He got injured, retired. His horse had his name changed because he was getting great, and then no stallion career because he died like his second year into it. But Dubai has turned out to be a fantastic son of Dubai Millennium.
I'll just toss out before we move on. Horse names are always funny, and
yes,
not always, but sometimes you see it and you're thinking, how did they come up? Well, sometimes it's the owners' names too. The number 2 in the third race, 4 Lawn Chairs LLC. I'd love to know the genesis of the ownership group name.
Oh, very cute. Well,
yeah, you'd have to think Buddy's out in the backyard of a race.
We got 4 lawn chairs for you. So take one if you like. We'll take one more. We'll do one more race.
All right, break. Fourth at Saratoga today. Optional claimer, $100,000 tags, and there are actually 3 in here that are going for the tag. Non-winners of 3 other than the condition. 6.5 furlongs is the distance.
Yeah, 6 figures. I'd be interested when they put up the numbers, because to me, there's almost everybody's live, and the one horse I would throw out and isn't on our board, I think is important for the pace.
Yeah.
And that is the 6, Rock On Luke, who we neither one of us see in the trifecta, but he's pretty darn important to the race from the outside, stalking, pressing position, setting the pace. Just go in here, because if you look around, I mean, the insiders that I like you see, I have the Deuce endorsed. I'm just thinking that Eric Consell could make my life heck in here with endorsed with John Velasquez, who, we chronicled, got through yesterday, right? He won the opener yesterday, right?
Yeah.
He won so he, what was that? The first of Mystic Eyes for Todd Pletcher on the eve of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So I like endorsed here. The problem is the horse I don't think can win the race could have a strong effect on the race. Jalen Journey is my second pick for Steve Asmussen, who's got right out of the gate and has had a very good meet here. Ricardo Santana, his regular jock, he has the mount this afternoon. Only 7 starts the last 2 years. If you go back to March of 19, races are on the board. But here's a rarity, Seth. I mean, this horse, he seems to come back after these interruptions in his career, which is rare. And for third, number 4, Answer In, who Seth does not even have on the board coming out of this explosive victory at Churchill Downs. Brad Cox know you left this horse completely out of the mix?
It's one of those you may regret afterwards. But
4 or 5
it was a big race last time. I just thought consistently, I'm a buyer's guy. They're a tool in the toolbox, and you shouldn't absolutely rely on them. But I thought consistently others were firing better numbers. This one has a couple of good ones, and they're in the last 3 starts, so maybe this horse is just kind of in that area now. I may regret leaving Answer In out, but I went 1, 3, 5, and 2. Jalen Journey for Steve Asmussen. Nice win, 2 back. Good second last time. I think this horse is in very good form. And as I say, it's consistently firing numbers that I think overall are maybe a little bit better than Answer In. Answer In, though, just may be in better form right now if you go back and look at the last 3.
There's one at least, and maybe a second true blue contender that you can't have in if you're only having 3 select. Who was your, because you give out the
endorsed, I used underneath.
All right.
But I used Pulsate in the second slot at 10-1. If you're looking at the last race for Answer In, look at the last race for Pulsate. Why isn't that horse a solid contender at a 10-1 price? So I played around with that one. Yeah.
There's only one non-contender in the race, and he's important for the race.
Absolutely. Wicked Trick, triple-digit buyer, 3 back. It comes out of a string of stakes races, goes for the tag this afternoon. And then endorsed, there's the back class there. The last few races are a little bit, but this 4th race is going to be a fun race. But for me, 1, 3, 5, and 2.
Good luck to the horizontal. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back as the morning just gets nicer and nicer live from the backstretch of Saratoga Race Course.
Welcome to the West. I'm Scott Varley at Saratoga's latest and greatest high-rise luxury condo. Starting in the mid-5s, every condo here has 2 bedrooms and 2 baths and upgrades just like this. Check out these oversized private balconies. We also have a gym, a private lounge, and get this, a heated parking garage. To make a reservation for your private condo at the West, call or text me. I'm Scott Varley at 518-281-6808.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, the Handicapper Sport alongside Seth Merrow. I am Anthony Mormino on a glorious, not Goodwood, well, glorious Goodwood, but a beautiful morning. We're up to the 5th race. 3-year-old fillies and mares, open company, maiden claimers in for 50, racing 7/8.
7-5, the one entry, and 3. I will put Hot Anna on top, the Ken McPeak runner. I thought it was a decent debut. Ran for this 50 tag, and you know, again, it seems like one of those races. Had a little trouble, but seems like one of those races that you could get an education,
now,
kind of move forward.
I want to stop here because I'm clearly on board with you, and Hot Anna is 5-2. Now, this is, yesterday I was against Danny Deepcuts, who I think today had like a similar type moment. Kind of an ambivalent debut, yet comes back and is the hot horse on the morning line. I didn't like Danny Deepcuts. He gets it. Hot Anna. I mean, it just surprises me because I think I agree with you. You told me how powerful you think the Beyer speed figures are in morning lines and people's betting. And I was like, well, yeah, and they were right yesterday. The morning line odds and the bettors, they were right. And Hot Anna, I did this before the morning line came out, and I see 5-2 off of that. Okay. All right. Lost it 7-2.
The Chad Brown entry is clearly going to take some money.
Yes.
And, you know, I debated with that one. I just thought there may be a little more upside potential. And you don't have to have too much upside potential to have an edge in this. You know, it's not a super strong field. Lady Clementine in the second spot goes out for Safi Joseph, maiden special weight to maiden claiming, potent move, and both halves of the Chad Brown Klarovich entry also making that potent maiden special weight to maiden claiming move. Again, these two are going to be awfully dangerous. I just thought what we've seen so far didn't convince me, but moving in for the tag, they may wind up being the ones to beat. But 7-5, the one entry, and 3.
And at my highlighters, right, I think it's 5 runners are dropping in for a tag for the first time. The entry, as you mentioned, the 4, the 5, and how about the 6? You debut in a stakes race, it's in the slop, and now you're in for a tag. I mean, you don't see that very often, but the entry is clearly the horses, the fillies that I need to beat in here. Hot Anna surprised me to come out at 5-2 for the Ken McPeak barn. Well chronicled what his barn went through. Probably be touched on even more so with Swiss Skydiver tomorrow. But Hot Anna, my top pick. And it's so often now, but that Fast Anna is a stallion. Not a broodmare, but Fast Anna, good sprint stallion, offspring of Medallia d'Or. We're toward the outside, 3 Chimney Farms. I like the old silks. Lady Clementine for Safi Joseph. In here going for a tag for the first time, so the barn's a little cold right now, and then the entry is going to be Hector Pay in here. 7-5-1.
6th race this afternoon. It is an optional claimer with a non-winner to 2 other than condition. Mile and an 1/8 on the grass. Top of my page, I have written competitive race.
Well, I was going to say I'll be interested to see what your numbers are. Okay, not too many. Yesterday we had a race where Brian and I covered 8 of the 9 horses in the mile race, and we thought Bob Caceres with Dr. Demo would be down the road because he was the only one not touched. I think that's the Painster race that was in my camp. 1-5-3 for me. Scheduled to break for the number 7 post position is number 140 under for Mike Maker. Get in front of that train. Good luck to you there. Second start since June of 2020. Like the comeback race, they're reporting first time gelding June 20th. I guess it's a jump ball, whether I believe it or not. That's when that information started coming out in the form. It took a lot of hits, I thought, rightfully so. I've maintained this. What information could be easier to know exactly than the vet was in? He's not a whole horse anymore. Let's get that out. But 40 under to me is my top pick for second. Number 5, Value Engineering, making the second start since last year. Good comeback race. And for third, number 3, From the Hedge, Sanctuary City. 1-5-3. Seth said it best. Good luck getting through the first leg of the late pick 5.
5, 6, 11, and 10 for me. Value Engineering on top. Chad Brown runner has had one start this year. Pretty good start, certainly one to build on. Ran decently up here in the past. Fairly lately raced 5-year-old with only 8 career starts. But again, with the June start under the belt, should be in good shape to continue on this season. I'll put that one on top. But again, with a tepid nod, as it were, in a competitive race. Winning factor goes out for Dave Donk. I think this horse is going to be an interesting player in here at a little bit of a price. We have 12-1 on the morning line. But again, the buyer numbers are going in the right direction in 3 starts this year. The 1.25 miles last time may have just been outside the wheelhouse, perhaps. I'm just saying that because I think you go back to the 1 1/8 race. That is today's distance. You go to that race 2 back, and the horse was much closer, obviously, when things were all said and done. So today's distance may be a little more suitable. And again, the price, very suitable. City Man in the 3rd spot for me. Nice triple-digit buyer, 2 back. Last time tossed in a little bit of a clunker, but maybe in a little deep in the Manhattan at grade 1 last time. Now steps out of stakes company after trying stakes in the last 5 starts. Nice little New York bred, certainly, that again, I think is going to fit nicely in with this allowance optional claiming bunch. But I have it in the 6th, 5, 6, 11, and 10.
On to the 7th. First off, do you remember when this used to be not a restricted 3-year-old race, and what the name of the race used to be?
No.
Okay.
Give it to us.
Oh, the Gallant Man.
The Gallant, no, okay.
Yeah, and I'd say like 1990 might have still been
Yeah,
for
I
older
was gonna
horses.
say, the Hall of Fame has
91,
been-
92
it's been a while.
might have still been the Gallant Man, and it was for older horses. But it's Hall of Fame Day. A couple years ago, they shortened this up. It's a mile on the inner turf course. It's Hall of Fame induction ceremony day. Congratulations, Todd Pletcher, Wise Dan, American Pharaoh.
Mark
Pretty good
Cassie.
group. Mark
Yeah.
Cassie, pretty good group.
Absolutely. And typically they're over signing some autographs afterwards too. So you
It's
can
a
maybe
wonderful
keep that
day.
in mind.
Did a
And,
great job.
people watch enough know that I love this subdivision of 3-year-olds on the turf. And I think this is a nice race. But of course, this weekend we also have $1 million up for grabs in the Saratoga Derby. So there'll be a field in there as well. But I have it 4, 7, 6, and 2. The 8 Wolfie's Dyna Ghost kind of went back and forth on
landed on
that
that.
one.
Wow.
But I went easy time on top for Mark Cassie. I thought, there we are.
Yeah.
I thought the race on the synthetic was okay.
I agree.
And the turf race just before seemed to indicate the horse can turf all right. So being lightly raced in that win last time where the horse I seemed to turn the corner a little bit. I thought it was worth taking a little pop in here in a race that I don't know whether anybody was really jumping off the page and grabbing me otherwise, but that race up at Woodbine, I'll hang my hat on that. Go with Easy Time on top. 2nd slot, I'll go with Next. Nice win in a stake down at Churchill, and it's certainly logical off of that. Does have early speed, but so does my horse in the 3rd spot, Original. I wonder if these two may go out and kind of duel themselves into submission. Wolfie's Dyna Ghost also has some early speed. I think Easy Time has the enough speed to be in a good stalking position and pounce and get first run at the top of the stretch. The other two will be interesting. If one of those, the 6 or the 7, sneak away, however, might be tough to reel in. Another horse that potentially can be rolling late, the Chad Brown runner, Public Sector, with Flavien Prat in for the ride on this one. I have it 4, 7, 6, and 2.
Just a couple things. It's a highly contentious race, which is terrific. We like the same horse on top. Not this time, who also is the stallion for Next. Had Danny deep cuts yesterday. My fear is that the Original, the Next, and the Wolfie's Dyna Ghost don't go, and we have a traffic jam. And that actually hurts Easy Time because it's going to get jammed up. Because I thought if they went, Easy Time would fall into a great trip. Tyler would just get out, get over, and just let them do their thing. My fear is that they don't do their thing, and we have a traffic jam up front. But I like Easy Time also. Public Sector on here, who you left off the board. Very nice. I like that.
I think I'm down in the 4
4,
spot.
2, 5.
I have them down in the 4
I
spot.
understand.
Certainly. 8th race, it is the Aladar, $120,000 up for grabs as they will travel 9 furlongs. This is a nice field.
And one of the great things in our day and age, we'll do the break after the Aludar, is you can go on YouTube and look at Aludar taking on older horses in his Whitney, the move on the turn and the explosion. 1978 Whitney Stakes, ladies and gentlemen, to be worth the 110 seconds of your time. Trust me. 318. Core believes a huge price in here. Second start of the year. The type of comeback race that I like, which is you run well enough to maybe not have muscle regression. You draw a good post in here. I like Core Beliefs in here. I know it's a big price, but I like this one. It's the type of 15-to-1 shot that I truly like. There's night ops on the outside I'll get to in a moment. But Core Beliefs, to me, draws well in here. I like the prep race. Second start of the year. They find a restricted stakes race. Prioritizes my second pick. Jimmy Bond started off very hot. This is the third start of the year. Came back in the Pimlico Special. Will have to improve much. And for third, on the outside, night ops, Manny Franco, Brad Cox. We'll see what type of... I think he's going to be in the second or third wave in here at 9-5, but 318 in the Aludar.
I have an 8-1, 4, and 5. I put night ops on top. I just think, on the recent form, he's the one you kind of have to fall into, but I don't lean in that direction with a lot of confidence. But again, his most recent races say he may just be a little bit sharper than some of these others. Prioritize third start back this season. I think this horse could be interesting with some prior Saratoga form that is pretty good. And then Art Collector in the third spot. Certainly there's some back class here that's kind of interesting. Can we get back to it off a seasonal debut that was a little bit disappointing? I don't know, but in the mock barn, maybe. Core Beliefs, who you had, I debated putting that one in the mix. I went back and forth, wouldn't talk anybody out of it at a decent little morning line of 15-to-1. But I went 8-1, 4.
It's probably going to be a price because there's enough horses even after night ops to take some money. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the final daily double.
Welcome to the West. I'm Scott Varley at Saratoga's latest and greatest high-rise luxury condo. Starting in the mid-5s, every condo here has 2 bedrooms and 2 baths and upgrades just like this. Check out these oversized private balconies. We also have a gym, a private lounge, and get this, a heated parking garage. To make a reservation for your private condo at the West, call or text me. I'm Scott Varley at 518-281-6808.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 9th race, scheduled off at 5:39. 5.5 furlongs, the Troy on the turf.
I have it 12, 7, 11, and 2, but I have had a whisper in my ear that Casa Creed may wait for the 4-star Dave next week, the Grade 1 4-star Dave, which isn't shocking given the performance in the Jaipur. The Jaipur, back at the beginning of June, I was in with the bankroll team, and I texted Lee Einsteiler after the race. I said, thanks for making me a hero with the bankroll play. At a nice 10-to-1 price, gets it done in the Jaipur. If Casa Creed goes, I'm going to have him on top. But as I say, I think the game plan might wind up being, we'll know when scratches come out officially later. He may wind up pointing towards next week.
But you kind of see all those mile races on his past performances.
Underneath, though, Imprimis and Bound for Nowhere, who I have second and third, maybe move up. But a couple of venerable 7-year-olds. I've said it for years now. Turf sprinting, certainly at the stakes level, I think is something of a specialty. Bound for Nowhere, just edged Imprimis last time, but they are both kind of venerable stakes level turf sprinters. So I think they're both very, very interesting. Chewing Gum, Bill Mott trainee at 10-1, Jose Ortiz on board, third start of the year. I think this horse is an interesting player as well. I would not leave that one out of the mix, particularly if you get a little bit of a price. Finished second to Casa Creed at 28-1 in the Jaipur, so I wouldn't ignore Chewing Gum. I have it 12, 7, 11, and 2.
Bound for Nowhere. You keep your PPs there. Bound for Nowhere. You might never see that in the daily racing form again. Tell the people we'll work Jeopardy here.
I'm trying to
There's 12 running lines in a
and
traditional
3 of them are the Shakerstown.
3?
4 of them are the
4.
And 2 of them are the Diamond Jubilee.
There are 12 races
And 3
on
of
Bound
them-
for Nowhere, and 4 of them are the Grade 2 Shakertown. Email me at capitalotv.com the next time you see that again. That is like, you almost think that's impossible under multiple reasons. Like, first off, that you're still in training to run 4 years, that you make the same race, and now how's this, Seth? He actually ran it in 4 out of 10 races with a Shakertown. I don't have much to add. I mean, Casa Creek probably will come out, but I'm 11, 12, and 9.
The 10th and final today, a maiden 40, 8.5 furlongs on the grass.
917 for me. Partners Hope. Ken McPeak's runner runs in for a tag for the first time. Second start since last January. Junior Alvarado has the mount here for second, drawing the hedge with the rail up at 18 feet. Digital Software, the horse to beat here for Chad Brown. Voided claim on the first start of the year, and for third, the Big Gray. Second start for Jeremiah. They had blinkers, run for a tag for the first time. 917 in the finale.
I just flipped around your top 2. I have it 1, 9, 2, and 7. I thought Digital Software for Chad and Klarvitz probably has a little bit of an edge on this bunch. Partners Hope, interesting on the class move, and Jimmy Dan for Dallas Stewart, again, with a maiden special weight to maiden claiming move, also very interesting. 10th and final for me, 1, 9, 2, and 7.
All right, we're going to hear from our good friends at DePaula for the play of the day.
Welcome to Albany County, an incredible destination to live, work, and play, with easy connections to more than a dozen cities from our vibrant modern airport. It's a short trip downtown to a hive of culture and amusement. From world-class shows at the newly renovated Times Union Center to reliving the past at the New York State Museum. From outdoor recreation to shopping to nightlife, Albany County has something for everyone. We'll see you soon.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. In front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Bob. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish in the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
The Capital Region has some of the most sophisticated horse racing fans in the country. That's why Capital OTB built the Clubhouse Racebook. Here you can wager year-round on the best horse racing from around the world. The Clubhouse also has monthly promotions including live bankrolls, handicapping contests, and so much more. Like sports? Watch your favorite teams on more than 30 screens in Legends Field Sports Grill. Food, sports, and the excitement of championship horse racing. Only at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
At DePaula, we think of our customers as family, so we want your experience to be fair and easy. Family owned since 1980, DePaula means quality and convenience, along with concerned and certified technicians. So come join the family and thank DePaula for all your automotive needs. At DePaula, we think of our customers as family, so we want your experience to be fair and easy. Over $2 million in original factory parts means you receive the very best for any make or model. So come join the family and thank DePaula for all your automotive needs.
It's post time for today's DePaula Play of the Day.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, live television, but the carrier pigeon made it, and it is race 4, number 4, right? If I got that right, the old Jerry West 44. Answer in is Anthony Stabile's play of the day. Take my word for it, ladies and gentlemen, but little gremlins got in today. It happens. It happens on live television, but that wraps up the Handicappers Report. Seth stays for Racing Across America. Ladies and gentlemen, another beautiful morning trackside at Saratoga Race Course. Have a great Thursday.
You've been watching the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.